Good morning, it's May 2nd, and I am back in Regina. Hasn't been a lot of walking the last few days because I was in Saskatoon for a Sask Expo, and I was doing a lot of standing, but not a lot of walking. Although I did do a walk through the expo on Saturday, I guess that was. If you go back, it was brief. It only took about 12 minutes to cover the whole thing, but you can get a little taste of what that was like. It was very successful for me. I sold a lot of books, so 116, if I counted right, 116 books I sold for a reasonable sum of money. So I had a kind of a record weekend, which was interesting. The number of vendors was down, and probably the number of attendees was down, but they were ready to spend. So I heard from at least one other vendor that said it was a very successful weekend for them too. It's just above freezing, but it's going up to 16 today, so even though at the moment I'm wearing a coat and gloves, it will be a pleasant day later on. It's pleasant now, it's just cool. And on the other writing side of things, boy, do I have a lot to do. So I got to get at it. I've got all the stories from authors that have come in I need to send out contracts for. Editing galore. Plus, I am determined that I'm going to carve out time every day for my own writing. I'm not going to let that carry on the way it has been, where I just kind of put my own stuff on the back burner. I am a writer, primarily. At least I would like to be. So I get back to Changers, which is the current project I've been writing. I'd like to get that out of the way, and then I'm going to run a Kickstarter soon. Like in a month or two, probably. I'm going to try to run a small Kickstarter to see if I can fund one of my own books that way, so that I can carry on probably the World Shaper series. I'd like to write more in the Masks universe, but that's my E.C. Blake fantasy trilogy, but I would like to make that a trilogy, and so maybe I will break the ice with a small Kickstarter. If it works, maybe consider a bigger one to see if I can finish the Masks second trilogy. Interesting. Possibilities anyway. It's also possible that nobody will care and that will be the end of it. Because I can't even raise a couple of $1,000s on Kickstarter, then clearly there's no point in writing the book. And just to focus on new things. Don't worry, I'll let you know. On here and everywhere. Here, there, and everywhere. I was listening to the Beatles as I drove home yesterday. I didn't listen to that particular song, but the title, of course, immediately makes you think of the Beatles. I think I'll walk along the dike on the north side of the creek today and reverse my usual path. It's to be different. It is quite windy. I didn't put on a hat, but I don't think it's quite cold enough. My ears will get too unpleasantly cool. This house has sold. Right down here by the creek. And I have a couple of freelance editing jobs that I have to get done, and all the publishing stuff. And on Thursday, I'm going to be at the Saskatchewan Libraries Association as an exhibitor with Shadowpaw Press. Introduce the press now that I'm starting to publish more stuff by other people, and let the libraries know I'm there. Hopefully they'll buy books from Shadowpaw Press, aka me. I'm hoping I'll get some copies of Stay by Catherine Lawrence before then, like first part of this week. That's one of the books I've republished through Chautauqua Press Reprise, and I've contracted for several more, which will be coming out over a period of time because, I can only do it so fast. The next one will probably be Legend of Sarah by Leslie Gadala, I think will be the next Chautauqua Press Reprise title that comes out. And probably Phases, which is a poetry collection by Belinda Betker. Then a nonfiction book, The Crow Who Tampered with Time. Then I've got a Leslie Gadala trilogy, the Empire of Kaz trilogy, and another nonfiction book. So if somebody came to me with another one right now, I might take it on, but I'd have to make it clear it could be months before anything happens. Because I've also got the two new books, Thickwood by Gail M. Smith and The Emir's Falcon by Matthew Hughes, not to mention Shapers of Worlds Volume 3, not to mention a middle grade book of my own I would like to bring out, potentially. So Art Slade came by my table in Saskatchewan Saturday, I think. He said, Ed, you're trying to do too much. And he might be right. But nevertheless, I'm trying to do it. So we're going down this side today, which I haven't done for a while. Those are pigeons, but I don't think they were. Maybe they were doves. One thing, with the snow finally pretty much completely gone, is probably still lurking here and there in deep shadows, but we may not see any on this trip. I can walk faster. Here's the bowl where they like to toboggan in the winter. Them darn kids. It's actually a flood collection, like a flood protection feature, but related to this dike. There was a bad flood in this area in the 70s. So, shutting the barn door and all that. I think that's when this dike was built. Of course, that's an entirely artificial stone wall over there, on the other side of the creek. I've already seen somebody with a dog, so we've gotten that out of the way. I'm sure there'll be more. There always are. Noisy bird up there. Can just see the top of Mosaic Stadium in the white over the trees ahead of us. There's actually a football game. I see the birds like to hang out in the shrubs along here. There's a football game in 3 weeks, which I guess we're going to. So we have season tickets. It doesn't seem that should be kicking in just yet, but we didn't go last year, but this year I imagine we will. For those when we're here, we haven't gone somewhere else for some reason. Yeah, I'm already getting warm. I could have just done this in my sweater. I wasn't sure at +2, but it probably would have been a little cool to start with. But as I walk, as the sun gets warmer, I can already tell I'm going to be quite warm. And I can't unzip the coat because that's where I hung the microphone is on the top of the zipper. And of course, with everything I have to do, I still try to get in some walking, so I do find feel I'm short of time all the time. I think the creek's a bit lower than last week. Nice to see everything dry for walking purposes. Well, I guess with that wind right there where it's catching me full on, I'm kind of glad of the jacket. It seems to be blowing from the east, even the southeast, which is kind of an odd direction. East for sure. I haven't looked at the forecast. I don't think there's any rain in the forecast, but I could be wrong. It's just focused on Sask Expo the last 3 days. It's like its own little world, and then when it's over, it's like, oh. I gotta do other things again. Next one of those I'll do, not counting the library annual meeting, is Sask Expo Regina, which is in August. It was supposed to be in June, but now it's in August, which will be better. Hopefully by then, everybody will have given up on the whole mask nonsense. Mostly, there's a red-winged blackbird there. It was a mixture at Sask Expo. I didn't wear a mask. I'd say about half the people there didn't. Vendors, it was all kind of split 50-50, and attendees as well. Hello, Elmer. Saskatoonians would argue that. I think that's another red-winged blackbird. I don't see any red, but there could be, I don't know if the females have red wings or not, if it's just the males. I don't know, but they seem to be having a disagreement, that particular group of birds. There's a lot of them around. Yeah, I think they must be males and females. The red wings on the males, and the females probably don't have it, as is typical with birds. Brighter plumage on the males. Looks like I better go down to the crossing unless I get a break. I'd like to cross right here. It's not actually a crossing. And there are cars coming, but maybe it'll work out all right here. Because there's nobody coming down Elphinstone. So if I wait for these two cars to go by, no, still can't do it. Oh, almost had an accident there. Somebody pulled out in front of oncoming traffic. All right, I'll go down to the crosswalk. Always safest, I guess. It's not a flashing light, but it is a crosswalk. So. And we'll still go over to the sidewalk I was wanting to walk on. Good morning, Dwight Williams. My brother Dwight Willett popped up on my feed when I was walking in Saskatoon. I had to look twice to make sure which Dwight it was. This is a seniors activity center here, Regina Senior Citizen Center. I'm just taking the scenic route around it here. Actually walk through the grass here. Since it's dry, I can do that. Just to show the Neo Balkwell Center entrance there. There's an art gallery in there, a small art gallery, and you can take various sorts of art classes here. Why there's art out here as well. Well, might as well take a slightly different route here too, just since I can. I'll go up this street, which I don't go up very often. I don't even know what it's called. First side of Broad. What's the first street this side of not Broad, Elphinstone? I just don't know off the top of my head. Hopefully this isn't too muddy. Doesn't look like it. Dead end street. Not quite a dead end. You can take the alley around, I think, so you don't have to do a U-turn at the end of the street if you're pointing the wrong way to start with. Yeah, it's not exactly a pretty building, that one, the senior center. Solid though. Looks solid and well planted in the earth. See the bones of the bushes when they haven't leafed out yet. That could be a great title for something, The Bones of the Bushes. Could go in a number of directions. Could be about dead members of a family named Bush, or bushes as in the tree. Could be horror, could be historical. Could be horticultural. Could be a historical horticultural horror novel. Now there's a niche I haven't explored. The Bones of the Bushes. A historical horticultural horror novel by Horatio Hardwick. That would have to be the pseudonym so you could continue the alliteration. Another dog. It could be a whole series. Attack of the Amaryllis, Bones of the Bushes, Corpses of the Chrysanthemums. I could go on. Snow is gone. We might see a little at some place where it was piled up, but it looks like even in the shade it's gone. It's got to be plus 16 today, and it's been like that, so snow doesn't really. Having said that, I might see a little down there where somebody had it piled up off their driveway. So yeah, there might still be a little bit fine dwindling piles. There might be a little in our backyard still because it gets very little sun. I haven't looked. I walked out there last night to take out the garbage, but I didn't pay any attention to whether there was still a little bit of snow. Our backyard is about to be torn up because we're building a deck and a small extension this summer. The cat's not going to like that. Strange people just outside making horrible noises. Particularly when they jackhammer off the old porch. I think that's going to alarm everybody, including me. I'm just going to shake. Well, it shouldn't shake the house too much. That porch is basically not attached to the house. It's just up next to it. So it shouldn't transmit a lot of vibration, but that is going to happen relatively soon, I believe. I hope we'll have the deck in time to sit on it, and the extension will be done. There's still some interior decisions to make there because there's a half bath that's going into it. That's one of the reasons for building it, is so that we can have a downstairs bath of some sort for visitors, so they don't have to go up the stairs, and so we don't have to go up the stairs, especially if we find stairs more difficult as we get older. Not there yet, obviously, or I wouldn't be walking kilometers a day. The time keeps passing, and I hate to tell you this, but you're all getting older. It's not just me, it's you too. Yeah, you too is getting older. They're quite old now. How old must Bono be? He's older than me. He's got to be in his 70s, I would think. You too are getting older. Except really you two is not a collective noun, so the you two is getting older, but that just sounds weird. Because it also sounds like you too. You too. Or it could be you two TWO if you're talking to two people. You two are getting older. You two are getting older. Or you two is getting older. Would all be the grammatically correct ways to say those. And if you don't care about it, then you could say things like, y'all's getting older. Ewan's is getting older. You have to say that with an accent. Do I run in the Queen City Marathon? I do not run. I walk. I have flat feet, for one thing, congenitally flat feet. So when I run, I get very little shock absorbing from the feet. It's very hard on my knees. I was jogging this path before I started doing the walks. So Yeah, fall before last, actually, fall 2020, I think I jogged for a while, but I quickly discovered that I would jog a couple of days, and then I couldn't do anything because my knees got stiff and sore. So that was obviously counterproductive. My knees are good, and I'd like to keep them that way. So I walk. Running's too much like work. I couldn't talk and run at the same time, so I couldn't do this either. We're turning into the wind, so I think I will still be relatively happy for the leather jacket. Although I perhaps can go to just a windbreaker over my sweater. Might have been the best choice this morning. I didn't think of that. We got the canoes back out there they use those for school programs for canoeing on the creek. All right, down here we go. Sometime soon I'll go further, walk all the way over to 13th and back, which is a longer walk, but again, I'm feeling a little pressed for time, so this one will probably only be about a 45-minute walk. Let's see what even there was snow piled up here and it's gone, so I'd say there's very little to be found anywhere now, even in the shade. Creek is quite a bit lower even than last week, and much lower than the week I came along, and it was flooding right here, so don't have any puddles I have to avoid this time for the first time in a while. The sunshine on the water looks so lovely. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. That's the wrong order. Sunshine on my shoulders makes me happy. Sunshine in my eyes can make me cry. Sunshine on the water looks so lovely. Sunshine always makes me high. I believe that's the lyrics. Anyway, there's the sunshine on the water. Hope it makes you happy. Meanwhile, I've got something in my eye which is making me cry. Should have been another line. Dust in your contacts makes you cry. That's the thing in the Bible about don't worry about the specks in other people's eyes and when you have a log in your own. Feels like a log sometimes when you get something between your contact and your eyeball. This speck is small, just big enough to be annoying, and not a thing I can do about it, except hope it washes out on its own, or wait till I get home. It's a constant annoyance. It's one thing to look forward to when I finally have cataract surgery, which I'm told is in my future. I won't have to wear contacts after that. Might still have to wear glasses, reading glasses, but I won't have to wear contacts. Not there yet, but every time I go in and get checked up, it's closer. But you get a new lens, and the new lens is prescription, so all of a sudden they fix your eyes as well. You can just do total lens replacement without relating to cataracts, but generally speaking, you don't fool around with eyes unless you have a really good reason to do so. Because as successful as cataract surgery almost always is, there's always a risk with any kind of surgery. That's why I only do one eye at a time. I know several people that have undergone it recently. Both my parents had it, got cataract surgery, and were fine. So. And that was years ago. They should be better at it now. Apparently, they can even suck out the vitreous humor inside your eye and replace it with a synthetic fluid that doesn't have floaters in it. And I have floaters like you wouldn't believe, so always have. I can remember being 20 something. I think I was in my editor's desk, so I must have been 25 or so, looking at the lights in the Weyburn Review and all the floaters I had in my eyes and wondering what that would be like when I was older. And now I'm older. And they have gotten somewhat worse over the years. They're just an annoyance. I'm so used to them that I mostly ignore them. But unless I start talking about them, like now, I certainly see them. They're less noticeable in bright sunlight anyway, and with a varied background. Snow really brings them out because you have that white background you can see them against. I know, too much information. I don't want to be one of those old guys that always talks about his medical problems. But I understand it. And I always have. You know, if you have surgery or something coming up, well, that is the most all-consuming thought in your head. And so naturally, that's what you talk about. And if you get two people like that, and they both got something they really want to talk about, and you end up with the conversation about doctor's appointments and health issues. But it's what's on your mind, obviously. Health issue. Nobody sits around and says, boy, well, maybe they do. I don't know people like that. Sit around and say, boy, am I fit. Look how fit I am. Are you fit? We're both fit. We're so fit. Actually, maybe fitness types do that. I don't know. I've never been one of those. Taking sporadic runs at it. Like going to the gym for 2 solid years, doing great on the weights, and then the gym closed down because of COVID and never came back open. Then I started walking. This has been quite, because I'm well over a year now of doing this almost every day. I had an unbroken string for, 200 or some days where I walked every day, and then, vacations and things broke it. But I've been a little more sporadic because of the time issue, and because, again, doing things like Sask Expo. But I did do a walk up there, and I'll be in Saskatoon again this coming weekend, and I'll probably do another walk. Maybe over to the university or something like that. Here's looking east on the creek. Looking west. And carrying on. Into the wind. Houses that I was looking at Christmas decorations in front of not that long ago. Seems like we're almost halfway from one Christmas to the next, coming up in June, so. Again, time flies, tempus fugit. Time flies like an arrow, fruit flies like a banana. Attributed to Groucho Marx. Hello, looking for the name and having trouble reading. See? It's not calm. It's quite breezy, actually. But you can't see the wind. Who has seen the wind? As W. O. Mitchell famously asked in his novel of the same name. I wouldn't call it windy, but it's not by Saskatchewan standards anyway, but it's breezy. As I've said before, Saskatchewan, we don't call it windy until you get whitecaps in your bathwater. A line from a National Geographic article about Saskatchewan I read when I was in Arkansas going to university. I thought, wow, National Geographic's talking about Saskatchewan. And that's the only thing I remember from it. Back to Elphinstone Street and the crosswalk. No, let's see, I've run into no, Dieppe Place is further over. I've walked over there, but this is not Dieppe. It's not what it's called. It's called Wascana something, probably. There's a person. I passed one person with a dog, and now there's a cyclist. But yeah, it hasn't been a lot of people on the path this morning. But it is, it's a weekday morning, people are at work. Weekends there's more people on the path, for sure. Certain times of the day. Looks like they're working on getting the ballparks ready over here, maybe. There's the horseshoe pitch. Gimbal keeps looking a little wobbly, I don't know why. Hope it's not wearing out. It's got lots of charge. There's still water down there. That's a big puddle formed there when the snow melted. Still quite a bit of water there. There's even a duck sitting in it. Wishing there was more water still there. He's managing to paddle in it, so enough to keep him happy. It's another blackbird. The species, not just a blackbird, but a blackbird, red-winged blackbird. Don't know what their scientific name is. Still looks a little damp out there on the field, but I would think it's not long before they'll be open up for slow pitch and so forth. Probably end of May. Victoria Day kind of kicks off summer activities, generally speaking. Here comes another cyclist. That one still looks wet. These ones are probably dry enough already to play on. Oh, here, I can go down and walk down here today. There's a bit of a path through the grass here. A little closer to the creek. later in the summer, this grass will be quite high. Tick country in that case. Tall grass is where ticks like to hang out. I've never had a tick bite me. I've had them on me and flicked them off, but I always managed to see them all. Terrified me as a kid. I still don't like the idea of them. They attach themselves and they fill up with blood, and to get them off you have to burn them off with a matchstick head, as I recall. Because you have to make sure they let go. You don't want the mouth parts to stay attached and fester. And of course they can carry Lyme disease, so you really don't want that. I mean, there are nastier things. At SAS Expo, one of the guests was supposed to be Clary Elwes, the dread pirate Robert from The Princess Bride. And he made it to Saskatoon, but he never made it to the con. He'd been bitten by a rattlesnake, apparently. This is the story I heard. Back at his home, maybe in Los Angeles, in his backyard. And you know, he'd had the anti-venom and all that, and he'd come up here, but then he had some sort of delayed reaction. And I think he actually ended up in the hospital in Saskatoon, possibly. At least he didn't make it to the convention. I did, however, see the Star Trek Discovery guests, Anthony Rapp and Wilson Cruz, from a distance, and then Anthony Rapp walked by my table close enough. I said hello, and he said hello. And I was telling my daughter, and she was way more excited about the fact that he was in the original cast of Rent. She'd listened to his songs, listened to his voice on the soundtrack many times, because he's a Broadway performer, or was. And if I'd had a chance to talk to him, I would have talked to him about that too. I kind of like Star Trek Discovery, but it's not my favorite Star Trek by any means. And would have been more interested to hear about his, as my daughter said, you knew Jonathan Larson. He worked with Jonathan Larson. Composer of Rent, who of course famously died before it opened on Broadway. Or infamously died. Blood clot or something. Oh, sorry, I missed a question while I was spouting on. It's a work day. Everybody's at work. Or school, so it's only those of us who don't have a set schedule, things to do in the morning, that are out this time of day. Here comes a jogger. That's actually like I like coming out this time of the morning, and usually I don't walk around the lake on the weekends because I don't like pointing the camera at so many people. So I'll walk around the lake on Friday. There'll be people around the lake. There's always more people over there than just along the creek path. And this path is kilometers long. I mean, it goes, 15 kilometers or something from one corner of the city to the other. So there's probably lots of people on it, just not right here. I should see how long it is, and someday do a walk from one end to the other. Probably be about a 3-hour walk at least. Be my magnum opus of walking in Regina videos. The gimbal is definitely not really behaving itself very well. Maybe I'm letting the cord dangle too much and it confuses it. I could go back to my wireless mic. I should try that again. It quit working well, and then I think the problem has always been in the cold. Neither one of them worked. One thing I can figure is that their plugins shrank more than the receptacle they went into, and so the connection got iffy. That road there is Regina Avenue. Down there is the Albert Street Bridge. If you're going to the university from here, you'd go down Regina Avenue, you'd go down Albert Street, I don't remember how many blocks, and then you'd go through the park, which would take you over to where the university is. Everything's direct to the university. I mean, it's not a very big city. You could live as far away as possible from the university and be there within half an hour, probably less, depending on traffic of that particular day and time. There's another dog. I can't imagine it taking more than half an hour to get from one corner of Regina to the other, barring a massive snowstorm or ice storm or something. And I'm currently on Cornwall Street. If you're following along on your Google Maps, this is Cornwall. That's where the bridge goes over. The bridge over the Wascana Creek, bridge over the River Kwai. And this is 19th, so we're at the corner of Cornwall and 19th. Getting close to home for me. This is the infamous spot where I fell down on November 11th. You can go back and watch me do it. If you find that particular recording. It was right here. A dog was barking and down I went. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was the first day it had much ice and snow, so that's what happened. Sorry, did I say Cornwall? Yes, Cameron Street. I had just thought, that wasn't right, and I was right, it wasn't right. They both start with C, close enough. Yes, Cameron Street and 19th. 19th ends here, more or less. So we go up. Oh, it doesn't, it just jogs. I thought it turned into 18th, but it actually just jogs and continues as 19th. And Robinson. Next one over is Ritalik, which takes us straight up to where I live, which is on Angus Crescent. My hand's getting numb. Better change hands. One finger's tingling from the weight of the gimbal on it. Yeah, I think it's that dangling cord that actually occasionally makes the gimbal jerk a little bit. So I guess that's the downside of that. This is Ritalik. We go up a couple of blocks, we'll reach the stop sign where I like to stop. I now have something in both eyes. So I'd be happy to get back and rinse my contacts. It's very dusty this time of year. They haven't cleaned our streets yet. They are cleaning streets, but they haven't come down ours yet. There's a ton of dust in the air because of the snow having melted and left it behind. And then it's windy, so the air often has dust in it. It's a terrible time for contacts. I should wear sunglasses, which can help a bit keep that out, but if I do, I can't see the screen. And then I couldn't respond to queries or comments. Thank you. One more block and we're done. This is Leopold Crescent. When will we see leaves on the trees? They'll start to bud out in a couple of weeks, maybe even sooner. They'll be really well established usually by Victoria Day weekend. Not really fully out till June probably, but it'll start to look green pretty soon now. Grass is already greening. I wouldn't rush to put out flowers yet though. There's still frosts happening. Alrighty, here we are, the traditional stopping point. So thanks for walking with me. I'll be back. Bye for now.